Hello friends, I am Dr. Vinita, MPT Ortho. Today we start the topic rotator cuff tear. In the majority of cases, rotator cuff tear is now suspected to be an acute injury occurring in an already degenerated tendon. Despite the fact that patient often does not give a history of previous problem with the shoulder. Mechanism of injury may be fall onto the outstretched arm. It may be follow a sudden degree of strain applied to a shoulder during pushing or pulling activity. Tear can be partial or complete if diagnosed as complete. Referral for the orthopedic consult is warranted. In deep surface, tendon is torn, or more rarely just the superficial surface. We generally observe that the onset is usually between the 45 to 65 year of age due to sudden onset due to trauma. In the older patient, the degree of force required to disrupt the tendon might be quite trivial. A patient feel pain, the duration of pain, patient are usually referred quite quickly because of the degree of incapacity that the condition can produce. So most patients are seen with a month of onset of their symptoms, and the frequency, the patient often report this as being the first such episode of this particular symptom, although a history of recurrent minor shoulder problem might be given. And area of symptom according to the rotator cuff tear. Okay, like if we see that the area of symptoms, these are some classification according to Colin et al. There is first is the type A, which is the supraspinatus and superior subscapularis tear in this figure. Type B, supraspinatus and entire subscapularis tear. Okay, this one is the some part, but this is the whole subscapularis. Then type C is the supraspinatus, superior subscapularis and the infraspinatus. Next we proceed to the type D, supraspinatus. Okay, then infraspinatus, then both these two muscles tear. Next we proceed to the supraspinatus, infraspinatus and teres minor. These are the classification by the Colin et al. Next we proceed to the next part. Commonly see that classification for full thickness rotator cuff tear developed by Caulfield classification system. That is the small tear less than 1 centimeter, medium tear and large tear, and the massive tear. And one more thing, that we should proceed the treatment with the affected area or according to the muscle involvement in that area, or the thickness, and according to the Colin et al. Classification, that which muscle is affected. Okay, and then we proceed The type of symptoms: pain is sharp in nature, sharp pain, and particularly on the movements. Okay, there can also be a persistent deep ache even at rest. In miscellaneous conditions, the patient often report being unable to sleep on his back or on the affected side by or the turning on the bed. The patient will also report being unable to lift or carry weight with the affected arm. Then we proceed to the next, which is observation part. There is usually nothing out of the ordinary to observe. In early days following injury, mild swelling seen around the area of the acromial ring, or in long standing cases, or patient may feel severe pain at time of injury, pain at night, pain with overhead activity, positive painful arc sign, weakness of involved muscles, shoulder stiffness, and the individual with a tear of the supraspinatus may complain of tenderness over the greater tuberosity, pain located in the anterior shoulder, symptom radiating down the arm. Then we start the active movements. In active movements, abduction and lateral rotation, very painful. Abduction will be slightly limited, and medial rotation may also be slightly limited. In this, medial rotation and lateral rotation both limited. Abduction limited, and we further proceed, but without any great degree of discomfort reported by the patient during testing. Complete tear should be suspected. In passive movements, usually full and substantially pain-free. Some discomfort may be produced at end range of the medial rotation, end range, and lateral rotation. End field will be normal for all movement of the shoulder joint. In the palpation condition, we feel that there is pain at the acromion rim and at the anterior aspect of the acromial rim. Then we proceed to the main part, like we do some tests for the shoulder tear, like some shoulder score, PSS is used to measure outcome of patient with various shoulder disorders. It is 100-point questionnaire consisting of 3 subscale: pain, function, and there is satisfaction, disability of the arm, shoulder and hand, dash scale. In this you see that full thickness rotator cuff tear with subsequent surgical repair. Okay, there is full thickness tear, and different shapes of acromia according to anterior slope. Type 1 is the flat, 30% of the cuff tear, 3%, sorry. Type 2 is the curved. In this, 24% of cuff tear chances, and type 3 is the 73% of the cuff tear chances. It is according to acromia. Okay, this is the Bligliani et al. Classification. Then we next proceed to the pathology. In pathology, first there is the rotator cuff tone cannot counterbalance the upward pull of the deltoid on the humerus, not able to hold the head of the humerus secure in the glenoid. Next, lead to the abutment of the humeral head against acromion, stabilization, concave deformity under the surface of acromion, then narrowing and arthritis of glenohumeral joint. Then last is cuff tear arthropathy with collapse of humeral head. According to Ellman's classification, there is 3 classification. One is articular, then is bursal, then is the interstitial. And according this, there is a crescent formation, okay, reverse L formation, L shaped, then trapezoidal, okay, and these are the full thickness classification, and this is the massive tear. Next, we proceed to the treatment part. Initially we start the treatment and some factors which are affecting the rehabilitation after repair of rotator cuff tear. First part is the type of repair, open, mini open or arthroscopies. Then size of the tear, absolute size or number of tendon involved. Then patient tissue quality, good, fair or poor. These are the factors affecting rehabilitation after repair. In first part, open, then mini open, then third is arthroscopic. 3 part. Then size of the tear, then number of tendon involved, Next is the patient tissue quality, good, fair or poor. Then next is the factor affecting rehabilitation after repair of rotator cuff tear, location of the tear, like superior tear, supraposterior tear or supraanterior tear, okay. Then we proceed onset of tissue failure, acute, gradual onset or timing of repair. Patient variables like age factor, patient age, dominant or non-dominant arm, pre-injury level, desired level of function, work situation, patient compliance with therapy regime. Then situations like supervised or unsupervised, or next in most of the patient what are the basic rehabilitation goals after rotator cuff repair? First goal is maintain integrity of the repaired rotator cuff, never overstress healing tissue. Second one is the re-establish full passive range of motion as quickly and safely as possible. Third is the re-establishment dynamic humeral head control, do not work through a shoulder shrug. Then fourth, improve external rotation, muscular strength, re-establish muscular balance. Then fifth is the initiated registered shoulder abduction and flexion when muscle balance is restored. Second goal is the caution against the over aggressive activities, tissue healing constraint. And the seventh one is the restore patient functional use of shoulder. Gradually we proceed to the functional part of the shoulder. Then grade 8, active rotator cuff muscle through inhibition of pain. Like when we do the examination, physical examination, and there may be some muscular atrophy may seen in the supraspinatus fossa, or depending upon the size of the tear, there may be atrophy at the area of infraspinatus fossa. Passive motion is usually maintained. Smooth active motion is diminished. Muscle weakness related to the size of the tear. Subacromial injection like lidocaine may help to differentiate weakness that is caused by associated painful inflammation. And it is important that other potential etiology be investigated. Patient with cervical radiculopathy at the C5 C6 level can have a insidious onset of shoulder pain, rotator cuff weakness, muscle atrophy, and supraspinatus and infraspinatus fossa. Now we proceed to the part of the shoulder rotator cuff tear rehabilitation. In phase 1, which is 0 to 4 week, okay, this is the restrictions phase. Like we avoid the proactive maneuver or exercise that cause discomfort. Include both offending range of motion exercise or strengthening exercise. Patient may have underlying subacromial bursitis. Therefore, range of motion exercises, muscle strengthening exercise should begin with the arm less than 90 degree of abduction. Avoid abduction rotation. Recreate impingement maneuver. Avoid empty can exercise. Then immobilization, brief sling immobilization for comfort only. Then we proceed to the pain control. Reduction of pain, discomfort is essential for recovery. In this therapeutic modalities we use, that is ice, ultrasound, or moist heat before therapy, ice at end of the session. Then we start the shoulder motions. What are our goals in the shoulder motion? Internal external rotation equal to contralateral side with the arm position in less than 90 degree of abduction. Always compare with your patient's contralateral side. Exercises begin with the Codman Paddler exercise. Gain early motion. Passive range of motion like shoulder flexion, shoulder extension, internal external rotation, or capsular stretching in the anterior, posterior, inferior capsule by using the opposite arm. Avoid assisted motion exercise. Shoulder flexion, shoulder extension, internal or external rotation. Progress to active range of motion like wall walking, and then elbow motion and muscle strengthening. In elbow motion there is pronation, supination exercise, and muscle strengthening, grip strengthening, use of the arm activity, daily living below shoulder level. Then we proceed to the next phase, which is second phase, which is 4 to 8 week. Criteria of progression to phase 2 is the minimal pain and tenderness, improvement of passive range of motion, return of functional range of motion. What are our goals? Our goal: improve shoulder complex strength, power and endurance. Then restrictions, avoid proactive maneuver, exercise that cause discomfort to the patient. Include both range of motion exercises and strengthening exercises. no any immobilization, pain control, reduction of pain, and we use same eyes, ultrasound, MyStreet and eyes at the end of the session. Then we proceed to the motion goals. In motion goal, equal to the contralateral shoulder in all plane of motion. Then we proceed to the exercise, passive range of motion, capsular stretching, active assisted motion, active range of motion, muscle strengthening like 3 times per week and 8 to 12 repetitions 3 times per week, 8 to 12 repetitions. Okay, internal rotation, external rotation, abduction, and progress to the open chain kind of strengthening exercise using the TheraBands. Exercise performed with elbow flex 90 degree and starting position shoulder in neutral position to 0 degree. And then progression to the next band. There is a 6 color coded bands are available. Each provide increased resistance 1 to 6 pound. Then gradually we just proceed to the bands after 3 week of interval, 2 to 3 week of interval. TheraBand exercise permit concentric and eccentric strengthening of the shoulder muscle and are form of isotonic exercise like internal rotation, external rotation, abduction, forward, flexion and extension. Then we progress to the light isotonic dumbbell exercise, then strengthening of deltoids, scapular stabilizers, closed chain strengthening exercise, scapular retraction, scapular protection and scapular depression, shoulder shrugs. Then we proceed to the phase 3, which is week 8 to 12. In this, what our criteria of progression? Full range, painless, no pain, no tenderness, and the strengthening exercises. What our goal? Improve neuromuscular control, shoulder proprioception, prepare gradual return to the functional activity, establish a home exercise maintain program, and then functional strengthening like plyometric exercises, or like if patient is athlete, we start the throwing, tennis player, golfer plays, all program. Maximal improvement is expected 4 to 6 months. Warning signals: loss of motion especially in internal rotation, lack of progression, continue pain especially at night, and some treatment. This patient may need to move back to the earlier routine, may require increased utilization of pain control modalities, may require surgical interventions. This is all the non-operatively conservative treatment. And in case of surgical, after surgical repair of rotator cuff, there is another protocol for the treatment. In this phase 1, we start with the phase 1 after surgery. Phase 1, 0 to 6 week. Restriction: no active range of motion exercises. Active range of motion sizes initiated based on the size of the tear, like in small tear, medium tear, large tear, massive tear. In small tear, no active range of motion before 4 weeks. In medium tear, no active range of motion before 6 weeks. In large tear, no active range of motion before 8 weeks. In massive tear, no active range of motion for 12 weeks. No 4 week. Okay, 6 week, then 8 week, then 12 week. No any active range of motion. Delay active assisted range of motion exercise for similar time period based on the size of the tear. Then we proceed passive range of motion. In passive range of motion, we proceed 140-degree forward flexion, 40-degree external rotation, and 60 to 80-degree abduction without rotation. Okay. No strengthening resisted motion of the shoulder until 12 weeks after surgery. For tear with high healing potential, like in small tear, acute patient younger than 50 years, or before 12 weeks should be performed with the arm at less than 45 degree of abduction. Immobilization. Type of immobilization depend upon the abduction required or repair rotator cuff tendon, like use of sling. In the small tear, there is 1 to 3 week. In small tear, 1 to 3 week. In medium tear, 3 to 6 week. In large tear, 6 to 8 week. Abduction orthosis, if tension of repair minimal or none with the arm in 20 to 40 degree of abduction, like in small tear 6 week, medium tear 6 week, or large tear 8 week. Pain control. Medication which are like narcotics or NSAIDs which are prescribed by orthopedician. We use the therapeutic modalities like ice, ultrasound, and the moist heat. And we proceed only with the passive range of motion. I already mentioned that. And the elbow motion, 0 to 130 degree, pronation, supination, muscle strengthening. Then we proceed to the phase second. In phase second, which is week 6 to 12, in this criteria of progression, at least 6 weeks of recovery has elapsed, and pain passive range of motion to 140 degree forward flexion, 40 degree external rotation, forward flexion, and 40 degree external rotation, 60 to 80 degree abduction. Restriction, no strengthening resisted motion of the shoulder until 12 week. I already mentioned that until 12 week you have to no active movements or strengthening exercise or resisted exercises. Or in immobilization, this continuation of sling, abduction orthosis, use for comfort only. Okay. Pain control, during the surgery they prescribe NSAIDs. In therapeutic we use ice, ultrasound, and moist heat before therapy, and ice at the end of the session. Then in the shoulder motion, what our goal? We progress 140 degree forward flexion to 160 degree, and 40 degree external rotation to 60 degree, 60 to 80 degree of abduction to 90 degree. Exercises continue with the passive range of exercise, and begin active assisted range of motion exercise, progress to active range of motion. In muscle strengthening, begin with the rotator cuff scapular stabilizer strengthening, and continue with the grip strengthening. And in phase 3, we start in phase 3 there is month 4 to 6 month. Criteria of progression to phase 3 is painless active range of motion, no shoulder pain or tenderness, satisfactory clinical examination. What our goal? To improve shoulder strength, power and the endurance. Prepare for gradual return to the functional activity, and we prescribe patient to the home exercises and home exercises program. Stretching, strengthening exercise should be performed daily. Motion, achieve motion equal to contralateral side. Use passive active assisted active range of motion, passive capsular stretching at and range of motion. Muscle strengthening, like for the internal rotation, external rotation, abduction, forward flexion, extension, all the movement. And we proceed to the closed chain isometric strengthening, and the open chain we progress to the open chain strengthening with the therapeutic band. And I already mentioned that there is a 6 bands. We proceed after one by one, gradually after 2 to 3 weeks of gap. Exercise performed with elbow flex to 90 degree. Starting position is with the shoulder in the neutral position of 0 degree. Exercises are performed through an arc of 45 degree in each of the 5 plane of motion. Then we start the therapeutic exercise. Permit concentric and eccentric strengthening. Progress to the isotonic dumbbell exercise, then strengthening of the deltoid and scapular retraction, protraction, depression, all the exercise. Goals, what are the major goals? 3 times per week, begin with 10 repetition and 1 set, advance to 8 to 12 repetition for 3 sets. Then functional strengthening, plyometric exercise, maximal improvement, like in small tier, maximal improvement in small tier, which gain 4 to 6 months, and medium 6 to 8 months, and the large one is 8 to 12 months, and last one is massive tier is 12 months. And what are the warning signals? Like loss of motion, especially internal rotation, lack of strength progression, especially abduction, continued pain, especially at night. There are the warning signals. We have to stop our treatment, we have to look at the patient, we have to re-examine the patient, we have to consult the orthopedic surgeon, and the treatment, the patient may need to move back to earlier routine and may require increased utilization of pain control modalities and may require repeat surgical interventions. Please always when you give exercise to the patient, always look at the patient face and facial expressions. If there is pain or any muscle weakness, you should stop your treatment and re-examine the patient. These are the common treatment for the shoulder rotator cuff tear. In this you can examine the patient, you treat the patient with surgical repair or with conservatively. Okay, and thank you so much. If you are liking my video, please like, subscribe and share with your friends. And next we proceed to the new chapter, which is adhesive capsulitis, in the next video. Thank you so much.